Well, despite Iran's concerted efforts to stop it, UN snapback sanctions are in effect once again against Iran. Assets are frozen, arms deals halted, and blocks in place to crack down on their ballistic missile program. Iran allies Russia and China sought the delay, but it was overridden in the UN by the United States, United Kingdom, France, and Germany. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian told us that secondary and tertiary sanctions batter the Iranian economy and complicate hopes for peace. When asked about the stunning blow dealt by Israeli and U.S. attacks on their nuclear weapons facilities and missile defenses and the decimation of their proxy fighters, Pezeshkian would only say that the attacks had helped to unify the people of Iran. The Pentagon says that the June attacks on Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan set back the Iranian nuclear weapons program by 1 to 2 years. At the United Nations this week, Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff said the two sides, Iran and the United States, are, quote, talking. But earlier, the supreme leader said any direct talks would be, quote, an absolute loss and have no benefit. This interview was conducted with simultaneous translation on Thursday. At times, you will notice pauses due to that in the discussion. Here is part of my interview with President Pezeshkian. President Trump said at the UN,
my position is very simple. The world's #1 sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon.
Speaking about the setbacks to the nuclear program, he said it cannot be rebuilt and that the United States cannot tolerate that program. What do you say to that, President Pezeshkian?
There is no place for nuclear weapons or any type of weapons of mass destruction. The unfounded accusations that they're blowing out of proportion is unacceptable. We've never sought nuclear weapons. We never will seek nuclear weapons. But if Mr. Trump if his scope is for us not to have any nuclear weapons, that was easily obtainable. There was never any tangible proof that we were seeking nuclear weapons. Therefore, they used that as an excuse to carry out an attack that they should not have.
According to U.S. intelligence, other intelligence agencies, the IAEA, was that there was enrichment at 60% levels. No energy use enrichment needs to be anywhere near those levels. And the facilities were also buried deep in the ground. In peaceful nuclear energy facilities, they're above ground. So these realities made many people understand that it was clearly for a weapons purpose development and not for energy.
Well, that's right. Perhaps we do not need the 60% enrichment. We know what we believe and we know what we seek. But the conversations and dialogue we had with the Europeans and with the Americans at that time led to the acceptance of the JCPOA and the International Atomic Energy Agency within the framework that was accepted mutually was carrying out the most intrusive regime of inspections ever conducted. The agency inspectors would show up anywhere, and the United States independently tore up the JCPOA, in other words, the agreement based on which we were adhering completely without exception to our commitments. After the United States tore up that agreement, the Europeans, the various companies that had come and formed agreements and signed cooperation agreements to work with us in Iran, they all were forced to leave Iran.
So is Iran committed to rebuilding what was destroyed during the attacks? And some raise questions about the pressures on the Iranian economy. Iranians in this country want to understand why there is such a commitment to building a nuclear program, even saying that it's an energy program, rather than helping people to live better lives, have better water, better electricity, lower inflation, all of these issues that they would like to perhaps see be the priority, and a better Iranian economy.
Of course, we seek a better economy. The problem is that America, since the very beginning of the Islamic Revolution in 1979, firstly, there was a support for tribal conflict, ethnic conflict. Then there was the Iraqi aggression against Iran. And then there were various terrorist groups supported by various countries, including the United States, and who carried out assassinations and bombings in public places, assassinated our prime minister, our politicians, civilians, school children. From the very beginning, the aim was that the Islamic Republic of Iran would never be able to stand on her own 2 feet. And we have never sought anything other than a peaceful nuclear program.
One of the elements of the attack was that Israeli intelligence had infiltrated inside your country and gained intelligence about locations and so forth. Is that still a problem for Iran? Do you believe that there is still Israeli intelligence that you have to deal with within your country?
This shows that Israel is the aggressor. Israel has conducted itself against the international law and international agreements. Just the fact that Israel attacks multiple nations at a time and creates such instability.
We've all seen the chants of death to Israel, death to America. We've seen the destruction by Hezbollah, by Hamas on October 7th. So it has gone both ways.
The reason why there is a Hamas, the reason why there is a Hezbollah, and actions took place, why did they undertake such actions? Were they out of their minds? Certainly not. When you drive someone from his or her home, when you belittle someone at will, when you wish, you demolish their homes on their heads. Any human being will show a reaction to that. We're not supposed to attack any countries. We're not supposed to attack any countries. We have not been initiators of any aggression against any countries. But Israel, at will, sometimes on a daily basis, they attack anywhere they wish.
Clearly not agree with that they feel that Iran has been very aggressive through the proxies and all over the Middle East, in fact. There are Houthi attacks just the other day on U.S. ships. We have seen hundreds of American servicemen who were killed by Iran-funded proxies in the Middle East in the early 2000s.
This is the mindset propagated by Israel. Israel says Iran has done this, but no one takes the time to prove that Iran has done this and provide proof. The fact that we defend someone who has been unjustly driven from his or her homeland. But to say that we instigate terrorism and attacks and aggression, that is untrue. Find the clear participation of an Iranian in any of these terrorist attacks. In America, Europe. Can you put an Iranian next to the members of Daesh, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and so on? These are accusations that are easy to throw about, but those who are actually committing the crimes and destroying, those are not us.
I understand your perspective. U.S. intelligence obviously has a very different perspective on it, and as does the U.S. military in terms of the people whose lives were lost. But I want to ask you, as you came into office, President, as a reformer, and many women have watched closely the movement for freedom for women in Iran. What would you like to see for Iranian women in terms of their freedom?
Well, you see, in Iran today, women enjoy much more freedom. And in our government, in our administration, there are 5 of our sisters who are active members of this top echelon of this administration. We will continue to defend our positions for equal rights for all, including women. I think it would be great for you to visit Iran, because what they have shown you about Iran, what the intelligence services say and so on, is something quite contrary from the real everyday life in Iran.
All right. Well, you can see the entire interview on Fox Nation. The special begins streaming today at 11 Eastern. And then also tomorrow, you should take a look at this very interesting look back at Iranian history on our Fox Nation documentary. It's called Enemy at the Gates, Iran's Threat to America. You'll learn about the history of Iran, the pattern of this country overthrowing leadership. Some think that it could happen again. And it looks at whether or not we will see recurring, continuing hostilities coming from Iran.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.